And a buddy of mine told me about this Bitcoin thing, so I thought, that sounds cool, I'd do that. I downloaded the blockchain, got it set up on my machine, had it running, and I'm mining Bitcoin, I'm making Bitcoin. This is fantastic. I got a machine that'll just run, nobody has to do anything, I just have to leave it sit there and it makes something. Not much, because they weren't worth peanuts. But I come in after letting it run for the whole weekend, making all these Satoshis, which is the smallest increment of a Bitcoin, and the bottom part of the laptop is warped. It's literally like almost dripping. It's like ran so hot. And I mean, it was a gaming laptop, but it wasn't made to run 24/7. So I thought, this stuff is crap, deleted it, deleted the wallet, deleted the blockchain, deleted everything off there. Never even gave it a second thought. And then 2013, my buddy says to me, have you seen Bitcoin? I said, that stuff, that cooked my laptop, man. That's crap. What are you talking about? He says, I think you should look. And I looked, and it was worth, like, I think at the time, I remember, just under 300 bucks, about $295. And anyways, I got interested, and I've never stopped since 2013. I've been involved in this industry, and I see it as a great industry. It's changing, and it's going to continue to change. You got to start looking at things like Ethereum now that are programmable blockchains, but Bitcoin for a store of value and Ethereum as a programmable blockchain are great solutions, and there's lots of layer 2 solutions on Ethereum, but this is a newbie meetup. So we won't go into some of that stuff too heavy. But Bitcoin is a decentralized currency. It's got a limited supply, and this is one of the biggest things about it, is that it's got a limit of 21 million Bitcoins. So that means that's it. That's all there will ever be is 21 million Bitcoins. And again, if every North American millionaire wanted one, there's not enough available. So it's a very limited supply. And I've had some people say to me, oh, well, they'll just decide to make more. Well, yeah, they can do that. That's true. You're right about that. But guess what? That's not Bitcoin. And that'll be something else. It'll be called Bitcoin Cash. It'll be called Bitcoin this, Bitcoin that, Bitcoin Gold, Bitcoin whatever. But it won't be Bitcoin. And that's why Bitcoin, longest running successful blockchain, it's unhacked, it works, it does what it's supposed to do. It has limitations. Those of us that use it all the time understand the limitations and we live with it. Like a 10-minute confirmation time compared to a lot of the other cryptos out there is kind of slow, but it's reliable and it's there and it's got a lot of value. So that limited supply, that's Bitcoin. If that gets changed, it won't be Bitcoin, it'll be something else. That's not something to really be worried about. This is kind of fun. Somebody do the math on this that's good on their phone, because, you know, we'll have to do that. 10,000 Bitcoins. The first purchase for Bitcoin was 2 pizzas in New York for 10,000 Bitcoins. Come on, Brock, what's 10,000 times 84,000 Canadian? 84,000 Canadian. Okay, let's just look. Everybody looks in USD, so let's look at USD and let's go 10,000 Bitcoin. 10, 1, 2, 3.
I don't think you're calculator like that.
Yep, $635 million those pizzas cost. So let that one sink in. $635 million. That's a lot of pizza. You could buy a pretty major pizza franchise for that. Like the whole thing, not individuals, like the whole chain. So yeah, it's kind of amazing. And yeah, that and the guy that actually sold them and received the 10,000 Bitcoin, he never kept any of them. He cashed them in right away too. So nobody made anything on that. The guy who did it was an early adopter and had like, probably still had billions of them. Like everybody that was mining in those days, it was really easy to mine. I mean, we set up computers and ASIC miners, and actually one of the original miners that I ran right down there in 2014, that was like a state-of-the-art miner, had that running in the building here. It got so hot that you couldn't even live in here. It was terrible. It was 37 degrees Celsius inside, minus 35 outside. It was crazy. But you know, that was the early days and we all did that and did what we had to do to get some Satoshis. So it has a lot of, cryptocurrencies in general have a lot of diverse purposes and utilities. Beyond Bitcoin, there's altcoins. And we already talked a little bit about Ethereum. Ethereum is a programmable blockchain. So imagine that like, okay, like Microsoft is an operating system. So Ethereum is like a programmable cryptocurrency. So just like Microsoft designs operating systems that can then run software, Ethereum, you can design software that runs on it, similar to the way you'll run on your operating system on your computer. And it gets really, really complex, and it gets really, really parallel as to all you can do with it. There's layer 2 chains, there's NFTs, there's all sorts of stuff to talk about. But this is a newbie meetup. So how do you work cryptos, or how do cryptos work? Transactions and verifications on a decentralized network. We'll talk primarily about Bitcoin. It's verifying transactions all the time, 24/7. It's not like, you know, some of the other financial institutions that go down from days on end. It doesn't happen like that. And it's in a decentralized network, which means that nobody can control it. It's even in space. So, I mean, even if the internet was to go down, let's hope that doesn't happen, but even if the internet went down, there's still several satellites up there now that have full copies of the current blockchain. So,
Who's the
question?
six-figure guy in the picture?
Well, that's how I keep some of these older AI graphics that I created just to remind myself about how much they've improved, and you'll see some of the differences. But this one, and it wasn't that old of a presentation. I did it up just before we left, but that's how much it's changed.
I mean, the six-figure guy, the guy shaking hands.
Yeah, no, I know. It's an AI problem. It's an AI graphic problem. It's one of the known problems. Hands are very hard. Hands are actually hard for artists as well. If you check into that, you'll find that hands are hard for us. So it's hard for AIs. Everything that's hard for humans is hard for AIs. So magic of blockchain, secure tamper-proof ledgers. Every block linked to the previous one. So in other words, it's immutable. You can't change it. So that means that you can trust it. So it's trustless. So I can do a transaction with Brock. I don't have to know him. I don't have to know anything about him. If I send my Bitcoin to him and he hands a car to me, it's a perfect transaction. It's because and if you sell something online and you accept cryptocurrency, you can't get ripped off. This is one of the reasons that scammers hate it. If you just say, if you're a legitimate person and you really are going to pay, or you really are going to ship to them, you say, hey, pay me in Bitcoin. I'll ship it to you the same day, and no problem. You'll find that none of the scammers will be interested in that, because they know once they send the Bitcoin to you, that's it. It's never going back. You own it. Now, if you're an honest person, you'll then take that product and you'll ship it off to them, and everybody's happy. So scammers generally don't like Bitcoin. If you want to get rid of a scammer that's bothering you, just say, yeah, you know what you're offering me sounds fantastic. I did have an uncle that was worth $21 million. And just say, but you send that to me in Bitcoin. Send it first in Bitcoin. And all of a sudden they'll just, no, can't do that. Because they know it's immutable. Once it's sent, and that's that. Okay, so real world analogies. I should watch how some of these words come up. Decentralized, visualized. So decentralization just means that nobody has control of it. There are multiple modules around the world, we call them nodes, Bitcoin nodes, that are running completely independent, that just keep track of the blockchain. That's really all they do. And it's up in space, as I said, and it's a lot of people just do it for fun. People have it in their houses.
Raspberry Pis?
Yep, Raspberry Pis and different little places. People will run the blockchain, and that's just to secure the network. And you know, it's a hobby thing that people do. You don't make any money from doing it, but if you have a lot of miners or something, it makes sense to do that. So why is decentralization cool? Empowerment and control. Nobody can control it. There's no middleman. There's no government that can say, oh, you can't do that. The blockchain is all over the world, independent people running it, and nobody can control it. Nobody can stop it. Governments can't stop it. You know, the bank can't say, oh, stop Bitcoin. It's not going to happen, right? And you know, they try and stop a lot of things. I mean, you know, if you're involved in crypto, I always tell people, make sure that you're careful with your bank accounts, because banks don't like cryptocurrency. So if you're using a bank account that's really important, maybe you should think of setting up a new bank account that if you lost it, it wouldn't cause you any financial harm, because banks are not crypto friendly. So mining. Everybody wants to know about mining, and mining can be a good thing, and Brock has a lot of experience in mining because he's involved in big mining farms and things like that. But it's basically, the devices are given puzzles to solve, and when they solve the puzzles, they get to build a block. And they build the block by layering all the transactions that, you know, you are sending to him, and I'm sending to him, and you're sending to him, and all over the world. They put it together in a block that has all those transactions in it, and for doing that, they get a reward. So, I mean, that's a very simplified version of what happens, but that is in essence what happens. And the miners are very important in the network, and they're paying for a physical location. They're paying for these miners that are very expensive, and they've got a big investment in this. You know, an average Joe like me that's got a couple in the back to heat the building here, it's not a big deal if I go down, you know, because there's so many out there that are doing it. It's irrelevant.
Till the break of dawn, fight against the banks and the people money calling. He's the future in a cape and withdrawn. Bitcoin